Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make one of these really cute, really simple brick stitch toadstool earrings. So this is what it looks like. So let's get started. So to make one of these you're going to need some size 11 seed beads. You can use delicate beads or round beads. I like the way that the round beads don't have such a sharp edge for this shape. So size 11 seed beads in red and also white for the spots. I'm also using some bugle beads, and these are 6mm bugles. So you either need some of those, or if you don't have any of those you can use size 11 seed beads instead, so whatever colour you'd like for that if you don't have the bugles, and instead of using one bugle bead you'll use 4 size 11 seed beads in its place. You'll also need your earring hook or earring finding, beading needle and thread. So let's get started. So I've threaded my needle. First thing you're going to do is pick up 4 of your red beads and slide those down onto your thread till you've got about 6 inches left on the end, and then sew up through the first 2. So you have this. Now you're coming out the top here, you're going to sew down through the 2 next to it. Pull that tight and you should have this. Now we're going to pick up a red and a white this time, and coming out the bottom of these 2 you're going to go down through the top like that. So we have this. Now you're going to go back up through those 2 you just added. This time picking up 2 red and going up through those 2 that you're coming out of, like that, and now back down through those 2 you just added. Next, adding 2 red beads in the same way, so going down through those 2 that we're coming out of and back up through the 2 red we added. This time we're adding a white and a red and going up through those 2 that we're coming out of and back down through the 2 that we added. And finally adding 2 red beads in the same way, coming down through these 2 that you're coming out of and go back up through the 2 you added. So you have this. Now I'm coming out the top here, I'm going to go down through the next 2, pulling it tight each time, back up through the next 2, down through the next 2, and I'm going to zigzag up and down until I get to the other end. Pull that really tight and then straighten it out, and you should have a nice neat straight base row. So now I'm going to turn it over so that my thread is coming out of this right side, because I like to work right to left. So now we're going to start brick stitch, but instead of picking up 1 bead each time we're going to do groups of 2 like these. And I do have a brick stitch tutorial if you need a really in-depth tutorial on the actual stitch. I'll try to leave a link for that below. So first we're going to pick up 2 red beads. Taking your needle under the thread that connects the bead you're coming out of to the second bead, take your needle underneath those threads like that, pull that down and then you're going to go up through both of those beads and pull that down, and they should sit like that. Okay, again, picking up 2 red. So this time we're going through underneath this next bridge of thread, like that. Pull that down and sew up through those 2 beads. And you should have this. So this time picking up a white and a red, and you're going under that next thread bridge, like that. Pull them down and go up through those 2 beads. Okay, so the next 2 are going to be 2 red beads, and you're going to add them in the same way. So picking up the 2, finding that next thread, going under it, pull it down and sew back up through the 2 beads you added. Pull it nice and tight, and you should have this. This time picking up a white and a red, going under that next thread, pull it down and sew up through those 2. And the last 2 of this row is going to be 2 red. So again, you're going under that thread bridge, under the last one, pull it down and sew up through those 2 beads. So now you have this. Now I'm going to turn it over this way, because again I'm going to work from right to left. So for this row we're going to carry on doing brick stitch exactly the same. Instead of picking up 2 beads each time, we're just going to pick up 1 now. Starting with 1 red bead, you're just going to add that under the first thread bridge. So exactly the same technique, and like I said, if you need a detailed tutorial on how to do brick stitch, if you haven't done it before, then I'll leave a link for my basics for brick stitch video down below. Next is going to be a red bead added in the same way under the next thread bridge, and another red, like that, and another red, like that, and I'll finish with a white. Okay, so now we have this, turning it over again, and we're doing the same again. We're using every single thread bridge, we're adding 4 single beads, starting with a red, going under that first thread, and then I'll do another red, a white, and I'm going to finish off with a red. So you should have something that looks like this. Of course you can do more or less of the little white dots, you can put them wherever you like. I've just chosen to do them a little randomly. Okay, so while I'm at the top, I'm going to add the earring hook. So I'm coming out of this one on the end, top of this one. I'm going to move down through the one next to it, the white one, and up through the one next to that, like that. So then I'm going to pick up my earring finding, and I'm going to go straight down into that white one next to it, like that, And then I'm going to go back up through the red one, back through my earring finding, and back down through the white one. And I'll probably just circle through that a few times to make it secure. So I've added my earring hook and I'm coming out of this white one here. I'm going to turn it round this way so we can see. Now I need to move my thread down. So I'm coming out of this white one, I'm going to move down through this one below. Okay, now I'm going to move down through these two below here. Doesn't really matter which ones you go down through as long as you end up in the same place, which is right here. So you need to be coming out of the third bead along on the bottom row. From this side or this side, it doesn't matter. So the third bead along here or the third bead along here. So I'm coming out of this one. Now you're going to take your bugle beads, and like I said before, if you don't have them and you want to still do this, you can pick up 4 size 11 seed beads in their place. So picking up one of your bugle beads and one white seed bead, slide those down like that, and then you're going to ignore the white one and just go back down through the bugle bead and back into that one that you're coming out of, or that 2, because we added those in 2s like that. So I'm coming back out through those 2. Pull that down till the white bead meets the top of the bugle bead, like that. Now you're going to move along to the next, down through the next 2, or 1, depending how many you went through, so that you're coming out of this next one along on the bottom, and do the same again, picking up 1 bugle bead and 1 white bead and slide those down. And then again, just ignoring the white bead, and you're going back down through the bugle bead and through the ones that you were coming out of, like that. So now I'm coming out here, I'm going to move down through the next 2. Okay, so picking up my last bugle bead and a white bead, and again sliding those down. That, and then same again, just going back through the bugle bead and those ones that I was coming out of already. Okay, so now we have this. So now I'm coming out of here, if you can see that. I'm going to move up through these 2 that are diagonally above, like that. So I'm coming out of here. Now I'm going to move down through the 2 right next to it. And now down through the 2 that this first bugle bead is connected to. Okay, so I'm coming out of the bottom of this bead here that this first bugle bead's connected to, so that's where you need to be. And then you're going to go down through the bugle bead, but don't go through the seed bead as well, just through the bugle. Okay, now you want to pull these together so they're sitting nice and flat, and you're going to go up through that seed bead on the end. So you're now coming out of the seed bead, and now you're going to go through the seed bead in the middle and the seed bead on the other end as well. So now all 3 of those are connected. Now you're going to come down through this bugle, okay, up through this middle bugle, down through the bugle bead on the other end, and back up through the middle bugle bead. Pull that all nice and tight, and now you have this. So now all that's left to do is to tie your knots. So usually I'll come back down through one of these bugle beads, whichever one you can get through, and back into the toadstool part. Keep that nice and pulled tight, and then I'll move down to the bottom and I'll tie a knot by taking my thread, my needle under those threads, creating a loop and going through the loop 2 times. Pull that down and then travel up through those 2 beads next to it so the knot kind of disappears inside. And then you can tie as many knots as you want and then do the same exact thing with your tail thread, tie your knots, and then we're finished. So once you've tied off your knots, then that's the finished earrings. So I think they turned out really nice. So this is what it looks like up close. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and you're able to make one of these. Comment down below if you did and what else you'd like to see, and like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to see more of my videos, and follow me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye.